Good evening, ladies. I want to apologize, there was a PowerPoint slide, but we're going to do it just with the worksheets tonight. So,
A little louder.
louder?
Yes.
Okay, I do have a soft voice, so I will put it up a little higher for you, and just let me know. At any point in time, raise your hand if I'm not talking loud enough, but gradually as I get a little bit more comfortable, I'm very nervous. I realize Annie likes to do this to people. So, as I warm up, not to worry, you'll hear me fine. So, okay, I had these handouts for you.
One was in one packet.
Oh, I'll give you this one.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I had more for you.
Anybody else not get it?
Oh, here.
I'm sorry, I guess I missed it.
One more? One more? And then one for you. We'll let you have it.
Okay. So you ready? 'Cause this is going to be confusing. Okay. This is all for everybody who's basically when you're turning 65 years old, you want to start talking to somebody at 64. It's going to be a little bit of a planning process. Finding out who your doctors are, what your hospital is going to be, what area you want to be in, if you plan to travel. I mean, there's lots of questions I ask in the very beginning, so I get to understand your lifestyle, who you are, and how you want to live down the road, because there's a couple of choices at the very beginning that you must make. Or you're going to get locked into a certain plan. Because for a supplement, it's quote a supplement, you have to qualify with health questions. So it's very important in the very beginning that you know, you kind of have a direction where you want to go. But if you don't, that's when you have an expert on, you ask the questions. So this is the basic of enrollment. It's the overview. It shows you, if you go down close to the very bottom, the initial enrollment period. You have 3 months before your birthday, the month of your birthday, and 3 months after. Okay? Now, if you're going to stay employed and under an employee plan, you want to go to HR and make sure that it's called credible coverage. Because if you have credible coverage, you can hold off signing up for Medicare and save the this year it's $134. I don't know what it's going to be down the road, but save it. And just keep on your company plan. Sometimes they tell you you have to go down and sign up. Please, talk to somebody. You don't have to. Save it. And make sure you copy down that you have credible coverage. I always say, start a file for me. Go to your HR department, ask them if they're going to allow you to stay on the plan, and if so, if it's credible coverage. And then we do the numbers. If it's less expensive to stay on the work plan, by all means do it. I mean, save yourself. So, there are some times when you are on a plan, and if you move out of the area, this is going to start, I can start seeing everybody glaze over here real quick, but there's just so much. If you move out of the area, then you'll have to choose a different doctor or sometimes a different plan, because the HMOs are a region and a network. Does that sound familiar to everybody? Okay, good. Because typically everybody kind of goes, what? So, okay. If you're on a supplement, you can go anywhere, as long as they accept Medicare. You can go to any doctor. Now, Mayo Clinic, if you use Mayo Clinic, they have a surcharge, so it's a 15%. They are allowed to charge 15% over because they won't accept. It's called Medicare assignment, is what the payment is, and they don't accept it. So there are some doctors who do. So there's some plans out there that do pay the Medicare extra 15%. So, any questions on this one? Everybody pretty familiar with the open enrollment? Remember, 64 years old, start talking to somebody, figuring out what you want to do. Because if you do not sign up when you are originally eligible to sign up, you will pay a penalty. And not only for Part B, which will be for a lifetime, for the drug plan Part D, which will be for 4 years. So, it's important. So I'm going to have you turn down to a couple more pages. I want you to turn towards the chart right here. That looks like this. It's about 3 or 4 pages back. Yes, ma'am.
Before you move forward, could I ask you what you were saying about the prescription? What 4 years is that about?
You'll pay the penalty for not signing up when you should have signed up at 65 if you do not have credible coverage. So the key words are credible coverage.
Meaning coverage through your work or another?
Not just through your work, it's whatever a plan that Medicare says is credible coverage. Like VAs use the VA, and that plan is credible coverage. So it just really depends. It has to be considered credible coverage. And once you get, if you choose a Medicare Advantage plan, they typically have a drug plan in it. If you've been under 65 and not covered by medical and or a drug plan, they're not going to hold that against you. But it's once you turn 65, it's a whole different ballgame. That's when you need to make sure it is what it is. Okay. So on this page right here, we have what's called Original Medicare, and it shows Part A and Part B. Part A is the hospital coverage. Part B is your doctor coverage. Now there's a $1,316, I call it the entrance fee, every time you go into the hospital and they hold you overnight. And that could happen once every 60 days. And then on Part B, you will always have a $183 deductible you must pay yearly. So the first $183 you pay. Then below that, since Medicare doesn't cover the drug plan, you have to get your own stand-alone drug plan, okay? And from there, typically, if people want to stay on their original Medicare, because I call it, they like to drive their own bus. They want to be in charge of their doctors, their hospitals. They want to go where they want to go, and if they want to go 6 months in Georgia or Florida, they're going, and they don't want anyone to tell them they can't go and see doctors there. So you get a supplement, which fills in those gaps up at the top. Now, if you are going to be, you're really healthy, you only go see your doctors once a year for your physicals, then sometimes some people choose the Medicare Advantage because it's within a region and within an area, within a network. So that's why they do the supplement plans. And there's typically zero premium. You can do a zero premium. In Maricopa County, I know there's zero premiums here. So depending on who your doctor is, what hospital you want to see, that's how you choose what plan. Typically, it's whoever the doctor you love, what plan they're on. That's who you, and then you just sort of deal with the ramifications of being on that plan. Some people love it. Some people don't like the idea of it. So it just really depends. And they also typically have a drug plan included in it. And also they have extra benefits. Some of them have the silver sneakers. You know, they have over-counter drug plans. Some do have over-counter drug plans. And some have concierge doctors in them. So, I mean, there's all different types of plans out there. But once you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, and let's say now you want to travel, and you want to switch to a supplement plan, you now have to qualify with health questions. You have one time, your first time when you're entering Medicare, that they can't ask questions. And that's when you're first turning 65. So, if you are considering the supplement, which will have a premium, and you will probably have one minimum copay, which is the $183 Part B deductible, because Medicare, as I was telling Annie, is changing. They want people to have to pay more deductibles. In the past, there were plans that paid everything. You paid the premium, and you just walked into your doctor and you didn't have to worry about paying anything else. But that's changing because they feel it's been misused, or the money's running out. So, yeah. So now they are wanting more deductibles. So you're going to start seeing things change. I just know in 2020, Plan F, which pays everything once you pay that premium, is going away. Now, if you're in it, it's grandfathered. Just the premiums are going to continue to go up because now you don't have any newbies coming in to help keep the premiums down low. So if you're healthy, you can leave that plan and go to another plan. If not, you're stuck. If that's where you're going to stay. And the premiums are just going to go up because people are aging. And as they get older, that's when they have to pay the premiums. So you're in it, you absorb, and then so something to think about. Okay. So let's go back. I have on here what, oh, I'm sorry.
Might be a stupid question, but why did they change? Is it every year they change, and the insurance companies, is that who's changing them?
Let's hold questions to the end.
Yeah, no, I can answer them in the end.
Sorry.
That's okay. This tells you what Medicare Part A pays and what they don't pay. It's the second page, page 2. And then the next page tells you what Part B pays. So then we can go through the third page and look at the pie. And that tells you what Medicare Part A pays at 80-20. They pay the 80, you pay the 20. And what Medicare Part B pays at the same rate. And this is when my clients' eyes get about the size of silver dollars and go, oh my God, now I gotta keep a part-time job. So then now we can skip to the next page and go on to, it's called Medicare Supplements and the Medicare Advantage Plan. This tells you what it is. It's what is a Medicare Supplement and what is a Medicare Advantage. All right, girls, why are you giggling? Right. So I mean, it just lays it out in plain English. There's no right or wrong. It's just, it is what it is, and you get to decide which way do you want to go. And then the next page is the important premium information. This is just what you're going to pay for Part B regarding to your income. Lovely thing is IRS only submits every 2 years. So you might be retiring this year, but they're going from your income from 2 years ago. So if it's way up there, you're gonna wanna talk to either your accountant or CPA and get a hold of Social Security and make sure they know. There's a form that you can fill out that they know that your income is not that anymore. So you don't have to pay the premiums. 2 years prior. It takes them 2 years to get the information to Social Security. And that also works for the drug plan too. Your drug plan can be more also. And that's About all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You had mentioned something about the Medicare Advantage plans and how do they make choices. They have what's called a star rating, and thank goodness for that, because now they're starting to listen more to the consumers and add the preventive. I mean, I could never understand why they would rather cut off a foot instead of treat the person before they got to that point in time. But I am actually happy to see that they are starting to do more preventive, and it makes so much more sense. That's what we were talking about before. It just makes so much more sense to be preventive, and you, as a consumer, need to really be aware of that. It's in your hands. Your health is in your hands, not your doctor. You go to him for advice. That's how you have to look at it. You have to drive your bus and decide how healthy you want to be, because last thing you want to be is caught up in the system. Don't want to be there. So preventive and good advice. Okay? Okay, well, thank you, ladies.